If your clinical marketing is inconsistent and you're finding that some of your advertising campaigns are just not quite as profitable as you would like them to be, there's a good chance that the reason they're unprofitable is because you are marketing to the wrong part of a human being's brain. I'm going to break that down in this video, and we're going to reference Maslow's hierarchy of needs from a patient psychology standpoint. Let's get into it. Welcome into the channel, guys. If you're new here, all we do is talk about how to hit $200,000 per month inside of your brick and mortar facility. Now, we try not to make any income claims, meaning that we don't think that you're going to watch one video and make it to 200 grand a month, but we do believe that we can share the lessons that we've learned in working with providers upwards of $200,000 to $300,000 a month, share those lessons with you on this channel, and then you can take them back into your own practice to hopefully hit record months or at least see some notable growth inside of your facility. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back. We have another great video today talking about patient psychology and how you can make your marketing message a lot stronger. Let's get into it. So the first thing we need to do today is understand Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I'll have my editors put this as a demonstration and take that pyramid that I'm going to reference and put it right here on the screen. So Maslow's pyramid has 5 different stages. The bottom level of the pyramid is what's called the physiological needs of a human being, okay? That is everything from food, water, shelter, air, even reproductive things like sex. Then you have level 2. Level 2 is safety. Safety is having employment, having a financial stability, having an income, and really feeling safe in your life and in terms of like just your predictability. The third level is belonging. So once you have all your physiological needs and your safety needs met, the next thing a human being needs is belonging. You need to have love. You need to have relationships. You need to feel part of a community. The fourth level is esteem. All human beings want to be respected amongst their peers, especially within the tribe. So esteem is, again, that respect, status, and self-image, if you will. The fifth level is self-actualization or transformation, really moving to a higher purpose of a human being's life. So now that we know the pyramid, there's one key rule. The rule is this. A human being will always regress to the lowest need that is unmet. So for example, if you have plenty of food and you're feeling safe, then you're gonna go into like the love and the belonging, the esteem, followed by the higher purpose or the transformation in that fifth level. However, if you're like working to grow your business, for example, and all of a sudden you're working on that esteem, you're working towards getting more money, you're working towards making your family safer, and you as a hypothetical run out of food or run out of water, you will have absolutely zero concern for the business and even the safety until you find food, right? Because your physiological needs are not met. So the big secret when it comes to marketing is this. Most viral advertising, most advertising that gets really good response from the marketplace, the hooks in the messaging all fall in the lower level of the pyramid, in the physiological and safety levels. And so many clinicians have this backwards. They market towards the top, the transformation phase of the pyramid, which ultimately leaves them marketing to a very small percentage of people because they're in that top little percentage of the pyramid. And additionally, that messaging does not currently match the patient's level of sophistication and the outcome they're looking to achieve in a relationship with you. So what they're doing is they're talking to the highest level of the pyramid. You guys, if you sign up for our program, you'll transform your life and you'll reach optimal health. That's a message that a lot of patients are going to recognize or at least resonate with because they're not currently at that level of need. In fact, most patients are stuck at the bottom. They're in that pain, that safety, that overall concern for their well-being. They're not thinking about optimizing. They're thinking about just getting the first 2 levels of the pyramid accomplished so they can continue to go further. So there's 2 distinct examples. One advertisement, you say, join our program, we'll transform your life and we'll help you reach your optimum fitness, your optimum health. But the problem is the patient is actually thinking, I can't sleep, I'm having a hard time at work because my back hurts so bad. So the patient doesn't actually care about optimum wellness if the basic needs are not even met. I'll tell you from a personal experience. When I first started going to my provider, I had extremely bad mid-back pain. And my performance at work, at least I felt, was decreasing because I had to spend so much time focusing on my back hurting all the time. It just kept taking me off of focus. And so the ultimate driving force for me was safety. Okay, I wanted to go see a doc to get my back fixed so that ultimately I could be safer in my work and have a better output at work, which ultimately made me more valuable to the company and ultimately gave them an opportunity to promote me long term. Now, when you're writing your marketing message, how can you actually make sure that you're appealing to that lower level of the pyramid? Well, one quick hack is to always consider painkillers over vitamins. Painkillers are urgent and primal needs. If a human being has pain, that is a negative thing that is going on, and that is an urgent piece that they want to solve in their life. They want to get rid of that pain as soon as possible, so that creates urgency to take action right now. Now, the vitamins, on the other hand, the vitamins are a nice to have, okay? Like someday you might wake up, you might take your vitamins, you might take all your supplements, great. Well, some days you might forget. Does that mean your whole day is ruined? No, I'll just get to it when I get to it. It's not as urgent, right? But if I wake up and all of a sudden I have a broken arm because some crazy stuff happened when I was in my sleep, that's going to be pretty urgent for me to solve that, because that pain is such a motivating force for human beings. So what we need to focus on is market message that is attracted to by the bottom levels of the pyramid, okay? We want to have bottom layer messaging, physiological messaging, safety messaging. Those are our main messaging when it comes to patient attraction. Inside of one of our masterminds, not the masterminds that we host, but one that we're part of, there's a group in there and they run an alcohol business. And that business, they help alcoholics, very productive and executive level alcoholics, they help them overcome their addiction to really become a higher performance in their workplace and have a better at-home life as well. In addition to just being a healthier human being, to be clear. So what that business does, on their initial sales calls, when they jump on with somebody for 15 minutes, the only thing they do for 15 minutes is they twist a knife. They get that person to admit so deeply why they are having such deep challenges with alcohol, what the challenges are causing them in terms of consequences, and what their life would actually look like if they were to give up their alcohol. So that's a great example of using a painkiller in a sales and marketing message. They're using pain to drive motivation to not only show up to the second call, but also take action on the second call because the pain is so deep. So how does this apply to your entire marketing, sales, and retention system? Well, what's interesting, if you really know the pyramid, you can actually use Maslow's hierarchy of needs not only as an attraction protocol, but as a retention protocol as well. And let me explain how. So at the very beginning, when we attract patients to our business, our messaging is all again related to the physiological and safety needs. That is going to have the highest urgency and the highest response. Because if you think about the pyramid, the bottom pillars have the highest percentage. That's why it's not like a straight box, it's a pyramid, right? So there's only a certain percentage of people at the top, but there's a ton of percentage of people at the bottom too. So if we use marketing strategically and we use our messaging to relate to those bottom two layers, not only will we get more urgent buyers, we'll get a higher volume of responses as well, because more people can relate at those levels. So for all attraction purposes, we always market on the safety and physiological needs. Now, from a retention standpoint, if you attract the patient into a business, as you do because of some pain or some discomfort they're currently dealing with, once that pain or discomfort is gone, that can ultimately mean that the patient is gone as well, unless we position ourselves differently throughout the relationship. So your goal as the provider is to position yourself not as the pain specialist for the whole time. We'll use pain to attract, but we want to eventually level our game up. We want to be known as the trusted healthcare advisor for our patient, which means that as we help them get out of pain, feel more safe in their life, we can show them belonging by getting them involved with practice members. And we can show them a higher power and a higher purpose through different tests. Now, let me give you an example of this. So in chiropractic, we'll attract people on pain just for chiropractic screenings and ultimately trying to figure out how we can help them to see if we're a good fit. Now, pain is always what we're selling on to get them to take immediate action. After they've gone through the protocol and they're starting to have, symptomatically a good experience, we'll start to introduce other things such as like HRV and other health tracking devices so that we can give that patient a North Star towards optimization. Because remember, if they come for pain and then the pain goes away, then so does the patient. But if we switch what our North Star is as the patient continues down the road and we continue to push the goalpost higher, that gets the patient to stick around. So in a nutshell, they come for pain. Then over time, as we build a relationship, we can show them things and educate them on things like HRV. And we can use that as a retention tool. So instead of tracking your pain, we are now going to be tracking things like HRV to ultimately make sure that we are optimizing your health while you're in our business. So just remember that retention is all about, again, once they get out of those first two rungs, it's about the tribal belonging. So having connections with other patients, feeling part of a community, having higher self-esteem. Naturally, when people feel better, they get more done in life, and that naturally leads to higher esteem and self-worth. And then finally, like that transformation of like taking a human being's cognitive ability to the next level to figure out like, what are they really capable in life? That's the optimization phase of a patient relationship. And as you go about educating and getting to know the patient, your goal is to get them to understand that it's not about pain, it's about overall longevity. If you guys are finding this information valuable, we can only cover so much here on YouTube. In fact, I share a lot of these principles much deeper inside of our programs. We have the Accelerator program and our Master Clinical Marketing program. Those are two unique opportunities for us to come into your business and actually add a wide range of value in terms of your marketing activities, your advertising activities, even your sales and follow-up activities. So if you want to learn more about our Accelerator program or possibly our Master Clinical Marketing program, I'll leave some links below for you guys to check those out. They're different for different people, right? So in our side of our Accelerator program, we do that as a done-for-you service where we work hands-on, we come to the business, we run all the ads. It's a very collaborative program. And then there's our Master Clinical Marketing program where we take a lot of lessons that we've learned from running all our clients' ads, and we actually teach you how to take your own marketing in-house inside that program. If you want to learn more, I'll leave some links below. You can check those out. Obviously, we can talk a lot deeper inside those programs in our paid sections with our students. So here are some common objections and mistakes I see people make when they're using the hierarchy of needs in their sales process. The first thing is they wonder, isn't fear manipulative? To which we always respond that fear is not manipulative unless you make it manipulative. Let me give you an example. I am a functional medicine patient. When I signed up for a functional medicine program, my doctor went through a lengthy protocol and showed me all the things that were wrong with my gut. He didn't say blatantly that these things were gonna like cause cancer or have me dead at the age of 42 or 50 or whatever it was. He didn't say any of that. He just said that they can cause problems long term because it destroys the gut chemistry based on what I had in my stomach, which ultimately leads to overall more poor health, right? So that, by him going through that presentation, it really I created my own fear because I saw numbers that were in the red. So a lot of this process is just showing people the objective facts about where their health is compared to the optimal standard and just like showing it. Hey, here's where we want to be. Here's where you are, right? And that alone drives innate action for patients. So you're not creating fear. You're acknowledging and pointing out problems. If that results in fear, then that's okay, because that means that the person genuinely actually wants to solve the problem. But we're not going to fear monger. We're not going to be like, well, do you know what the cost of this will be if you don't take action? Or, hey, if you don't do this, you might have some serious negative consequences down the road. Like, that's fear mongering. Don't do that. Just state the facts and then let the person decide if their health is valuable enough to take action on it. The next thing you might say is like, my patients want transformation. They don't want pain reduction. And to which I would say, that may be true. Your referrals that come in, your active patients in the clinic, the people who you are getting from word of mouth, they might be a little bit higher up in the pyramid, right? But when you're marketing and you're advertising, you want the widest range of people to appeal to. When you only market to the top, that transformation in an advertising message, what you're gonna find is that your cost per lead is just gonna be astronomically higher. Because again, a lot of people are not in that top level of the pyramid, which is why it's that top little percentage, right? Because not everybody has made it and has all their level of needs conquered to where they can enter the transformation and self-actualization phase. And the reality is, your patients want the result that they are looking for. If they can't sleep, that's what they want to be fixed. If their back hurts like me while they're at work and they're having a hard time with productivity, that is what they want. So it's okay. I think every patient at some point wants a transformation. Doesn't mean they want it on the initial sale of the business. In fact, going into somebody and having them sit down in a sales protocol as a patient and saying like, if you sign up, we're gonna totally transform your life. A lot of people aren't even gonna believe that. They'll think you're full of shit, to be totally honest with you. And so we wanna give them what they want first. That's the classic, sell them what they want, and then later give them what they need. Give them the transformation they need later. But make sure your sales messaging actually listens to what they want now, because that's going to be the highest outcome for them and the highest probability they take action inside your business. So let me give you an example of different hooks you can use throughout different times of the year: spring, summer, fall. So here's what I want to see you do. If you're watching this video, I want to see you acknowledge what the market wants. I want to see your marketing messaging go from the top of the pyramid down to the bottom of the pyramid. And I want you to test it. Even if you're sold that in your business, the only thing patients want is a transformation, I encourage you to check the messaging on the bottom two rungs of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. As somebody who started low on the rung and then later was exposed to chiropractic and then later was exposed to how transformational and how much benefit chiropractic can provide outside of back relief, I was not prepared to be sold a transformation. I was prepared to be sold something that I felt was going to help with my productivity at work. So remember, great marketing has no concern with the product. It has all the concern with the prospect and the current state of awareness they have in terms of your product and service. So here's the bottom line. 90% of marketing falls flat on its face because it appeals to the wrong part of the brain. You are marketing towards the wrong level in the hierarchy of needs. When in doubt, start at the bottom two: physiological and safety. They're the biggest, the highest percentage of people are in those two categories, and it will create the most urgent buyers for your office. So what this means for you is that throughout your marketing and sales process, you have to ask yourself, am I trying to market what I want, or am I demonstrating a message that will resonate with what the patient wants? Completely different. That's, again, product obsessed versus patient obsessed. You got to become patient obsessed in your marketing if you're going to have a good return on your dollar spent. And if you want help breaking down these ideas, or maybe you just want to learn more about the deep psychology required in today's competitive marketplace, click one of the links below. Check out our accelerator program, our master clinical marketing program. They're very different programs for very different individuals who are looking for unique things. But check out those ideas. So if you want more ideas like this, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to dive deeper at some of our programs to see if we can help you out at a deeper level and really come in to see if we can shortcut how long it takes you to hit the goals. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. We're dropping 2 videos a week on this channel, all about how to perfect your marketing and sales in your brick and mortar natural healthcare facility with the ultimate goal of reaching $200,000 per month someday. I'll see you guys in the next one.